Hola everyone! Hola is hello in Spanish. So hello and welcome to Roma's Voice Library. We are back with fairy tales. It's kind of a cool morning today, so I decided to choose a fairy tale which has something that's got to do with winter because it's cold. So what do you think it might be? I think it might be something to do with Christmas, and Christmas has things to do with fir trees, and that's why our story today is called The Little Fir Tree. Shall we begin? There was once a pretty little fir tree in a forest. It grew in an excellent spot, for it could get sun and plenty of air, and all around it grew many tall companions, pines as well as firs. The little fir tree's greatest desire was to grow up. And do what, I wonder? It did not care about the warm sun and the fresh air, or notice the peasant children who ran about chattering when they came out to gather wild strawberries and raspberries. Often they could fill a whole basket full and would string them up on a straw. Sometimes they would sit down by the little fir tree and exclaim, "What a sweet little one this is!" The tree did not like that at all. By the next year, it had grown a whole ring wider, and the year after that, another ring more. For you can always tell a fir tree's age from its rings. It's probably just like how we measure our height and then we think we've all grown up, so you guys are going to keep growing up, keep growing taller, only and only if you eat nice and healthy food. Get some sun, roam around, play around, and that should do it. Oh, if I were only as tall as others, sighed the little fir tree. Then I could stretch my branches far and wide and look out upon the great world. The birds would build their nests in my branches, and when the wind blew, I would bow politely just like the others. The fir tree took no pleasure in the sunshine, nor in the birds, nor in the rosy clouds that sailed over it at dawn and at sunset. Then the winter came, and the ground was covered with sparkling white snow. Sometimes a hare would come up and leap right over the little fir tree. This annoyed it very much. But when 2 more winters had passed, the fir tree was so tall, and the hare had to run around it. To grow and become old and big. That is the only pleasure in life, thought the tree. Nah, the real pleasure in life is to stay young and do all of the funny things you can do when you're a kid. Because life's pressures after that. You don't have to take any pressure. It's all cool. In the autumn, woodcutters used to come and chop down some of the tallest trees. This happened every year, and the young fir tree would shiver as the magnificent trees fell crashing to the ground, their branches hewn off and the great trunks left bare so that they were almost unrecognizable. Then they were loaded into wagons and dragged out of the forest by horses. Where are they going? What will happen to them? Thought the fir tree. In spring, when swallows and storks came, the fir asked them, "Do you know where they were taken? Have you met them?" The swallows knew nothing about them, but a stork nodded his head thoughtfully, saying, "I think I know. I saw many new ships with splendid masts as I flew from Egypt. I can imagine those must be the trees you mean. They had the scent of fir about them. They were grand. Oh, if I were only big enough to sail over the sea too." "What sort of a thing is the sea? What does it look like?" asked the fir tree. "It would take much too long to tell you all that," said the stork, and he went off. "Rejoice in your youth," said the sunbeams. "Rejoice in the sweet growing time, in the young life within you. and the wind kissed it, and the dew wept tears over it, but the fir tree did not understand. Toward Christmas time, quite a few of the little trees were cut down. Some not as big as the young fir, some just the same age, and now it had no peace or rest for longing to be away. These young trees, which were chosen for their beauty, did not have the branches chopped off. They were stacked onto carts and dragged out of the forest by horses. "Where are those going?" asked the fir tree. "They are no bigger than I, and one was even much smaller. Why do they keep their branches? Where are they being taken?" We know, twittered the sparrows. "Down there in the city, we have peeked in at windows. We know where they go. They are set up in the greatest splendor and magnificence you can imagine. We have looked into windows and seen them planted in the middle of a warm room and adorned with the most beautiful things. Golden apples, sweets, toys, and hundreds of candles. I believe the sparrows have peeked into a decorated Christmas tree. And that's why they're recollecting all of this for the fir tree. That should lift up the fir tree's spirits, right? Or not? Let's find out." "And then?" asked the fir tree, trembling in every limb with eagerness. "What happens then?" "Oh, we haven't seen anything more than that. But that was simply wonderful. Am I too destined for the same brilliant future?" wondered the fir tree excitedly. "That is even better than sailing over the sea. I'm sick with longing. If it were only Christmas. I'm as tall and grown up now as the ones that were taken away last year. If I were only in that warm room with all that splendor and magnificence. Oh, I'm pining away. I really don't know what's the matter with me." "Rejoice in us," said the air and sunshine. "Rejoice in your fresh youth out here in the open." But the fir tree took no notice and just grew and grew. There it stood fresh and green in winter, and in summer, those who saw it said, "What a beautiful tree." And the following Christmas, it was the first to be cut down. The axe went deep into the core, and the tree fell to the ground with a sigh. It felt bruised and faint. It could not think of happiness. It was sad at leaving its home, the place where it had grown up. It knew too that it would never again see its dear companions, or the shrubs and the flowers. Perhaps not even the birds. Altogether, the parting was not pleasant. Wow. Don't you guys feel that when you leave kindergarten and then you go to a new school and you have to make new friends, and maybe your old friends are no longer in the same school as you? It's probably something similar to what the fir tree was feeling. Well, it had lost all of its friends. It was now going into a new environment. But isn't this what the fir tree actually wanted? When the tree came to, it found itself packed in a yard with other trees. And a man saying, "This one is perfect. This is the one we will take." Then came 2 footmen in livery, who carried the fir tree into a beautiful big room. There were pictures hanging up on walls, and near the Dutch stove stood a great Chinese vase with lions on their lid. There were armchairs, silk-covered sofas, large tables laden with picture books, and toys worth lots and lots of money. At least so what the children said. The fir tree was placed in a great tub filled with sand, but no one could see that tub, for it was covered with greenery and stood on a gaily colored carpet. How the tree trembled! What was coming now? Young ladies and men, servants began to decorate it, and on its branches they hung little baskets cut out of bright paper, each full of sugar plums. Nuts hung down as if they grew there, and over 100 red, blue, and white candles were fastened among the branches. dolls as lifelike as human beings. The fir tree had never seen any of this before. They were suspended among the branches, and at the top was fixed a gold tinsel star. It was gorgeous, quite gorgeous. Ah, thought the tree, if only it were evening, if only the candles were already lit. What will happen then? I wonder whether the trees will come from the forest to see me, or if the sparrows will peek in at the windows. Am I to stand here decked out thus through winter and summer? What is exactly going to happen with the fir tree? We know now for a fact that it's been decorated for Christmas. It's all going to be dolled up and lit up when evening comes. But do you think the other fir trees will join it and see all of the splendor around it? Let's find out.